Good morning. Thank you for joining us and welcome to the Kent County Board of Commissioners Finance Committee. We're going to start by calling to order and then move straight to public comment. If there's anyone from the public wishing to comment. I see none, so we will move on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion for the consent agenda?
Motion.
Moved by Commissioner Sparks, supported by Commissioner Halsted. All those in favor, or I'm sorry, is there any questions or comments? No. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passes. That takes us to our special order of business with the right place. Yep.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Tim. Before you start, I just wanted to mention to the committee that we did renew the Right Place contract per the renewal terms of the agreement. And the plan is to invite Mr. Mraz and Mr. Thalen back in the spring. Since we have so many new commissioners, we just kind of want to go through the agreement more in detail and have a review at that time. So just wanted to mention that it has been reviewed for 2026.
Sounds fantastic. And unfortunately, Randy was called away on business. He's overseas right now, so he sent two younger, more attractive people, newly minted Dr. Tarita Johnson and myself. So thank you for giving us time this morning. As you guys know, about 4 years ago now, the Right Place did some significant restructuring to our organization and really realigned our entire staff around these three pillars of people, place, and prosperity. So everything that we'll talk about this morning revolves around those three pillars. As you can imagine, the people pillar talks or references mostly about the workforce development side of our business, working with employers to attract and retain the talent that they need to continue to grow. The place pillar is my pillar. That's all about community development, placemaking, and real estate development. And then the prosperity side of our house is the traditional business development side about business expansion, retention, and attraction. Again, as you guys know, we've spent the last 40 years making sure that we track our efforts. What you see here will probably be close to the final metrics going into the end of our 3-year strategic plan, well exceeding all 4 of our metrics, including the one probably we're most proud of is that hourly wage aspect is keeping up with increased cost of living and a more competitive talent environment. And in terms of Kent County businesses, one of the things that we pride ourselves is making sure that we are out in the community, that we are out meeting with businesses. This is over the past 12 months, October 2024 to October 2025. We were able to meet with 364 businesses. Real quick for those, the quote, the term retention visit is more of a wonky term for economic development. Really what that is that sitting down across the table privately with business owners, plant managers, and those folks that are responsible for decision-making in the business and saying, let's put the business aside for a minute. And, let's put your business problems aside for a minute and let's talk about the business itself. How are things going? What does staffing look like? What does financing look like? And because we're a private nonprofit, we're able to have some of those more confidential conversations with those businesses and have build more trust with those business owners. Out of those retention calls, we've been able to provide 117 business assists. So those are actual, a company comes to us and says, I'm really having a hard time finding talent, or I'm really having a hard time, getting training for my employees. I really need to train them up on this certain program, on this certain piece of machinery, but I'm not sure how to do it. Those are connections to GRCC to do that, to do that workforce development training, to West Michigan Works to do that workforce development training, or to our own department, our own talent department here with Tarita. So. And out of that, we've had 11 projects come out just this last year. And again, I mentioned those retention calls. Well, one of the 3 of the key questions we ask our employers during those retention calls is, or what you see here, are how are sales going, for your company? What are your plans for expansion, and what is hiring looking like? And the good thing in terms of Kent County businesses, we're seeing increases in all of these. That sales are increasing. Nearly half of them have plans for project expansions, and half of them are still looking to do hiring. So, again, This is over the past year, so we've seen some changes, as of late, probably the last 3 months. But over the past year, things are still looking pretty good. A quick pitch for a program that is housed within the right place that you may or may not know about is the Michigan Manufacturing Technology Center. This is actually a statewide program. We house the West Michigan division of it, and it's actually funnels up to a national program through the Manufacturing Extension Partnership. But this program exists to help our area small and medium-sized manufacturers remain competitive. They provide technical consulting on everything from plant layout to 5S training, lean training. They also do sales training, market diversification training, and a variety of other things for manufacturers here in King County. Our people initiatives, Tarita, you want to speak to this real quick?
So just a quick snapshot. I had the privilege and honor to sit on the Kent County Child Care Task Force for an entire year. And then also, we are partnered with MyLeap Child Care Grant Extension with Vibrant Futures because child care is a big barrier when it comes to workforce. And we've got a number of people that are out of the workforce due to child care. So we're working with Vibrant Futures to really meet some of those needs throughout the county. We also are starting a healthcare ambassador program. There are about 500 jobs that are coming to this region in the health sciences. So we have pulled together all of our folks like Michigan State, as well as Amway, just all of our healthcare, health science folks, Corewell Health. And what we found is we asked several of them, what is your greatest need as you are bringing people to this region? And they feel that their spouses, significant others, their children, as well as themselves, have a difficult time connecting in community. I like to say we are like Mayberry on steroids, and I'm dating myself here. And so how do we make this ambassador program so that people feel that they're plugged into not just their organizations, but into the county and into the region? So we are starting an initiative. We have several companies at the table, and we're piloting an ambassador program to help all of these folks that are coming here feel more connected. We also do a number of talent, we call them talent retention visits. So out of those visits, we do a significant number where we go to companies and we talk all things talent. So what does their sourcing and their recruiting look like? Where are they going to be hiring next? Or what are any of their challenges in retaining talent? And we bridge the gap between any challenges they have as well as amplifying their best practices. We have an assessment called My Talent 360. We look at 3 areas in that assessment. We look at how do they build their employer brand, how do they source and recruit, and how do they retain talent, connecting them to many of the different organizations within the community and throughout the region. We also do a number of talent learning labs. So these are topics, everything from how do you reduce workforce barriers, building strong brands, and solving the leadership gap, as well as succession planning. So whether it's human capital planning or they're going to transfer the business over to someone else. So that's pretty much our talent initiatives for people.
Thank you, Tarita. In terms of place, a couple of things I wanted to mention before I go into place is that the county has been a tremendous partner and has asked me to also serve on the West Michigan Regional Planning Commission to represent the county. I'm also a member of the King County Mobility Task Force. And then most recently, within the last year, I was also appointed through the City of East Grand Rapids to the Rapid Board. So I want to thank you guys for your continued partnership and trusting me on those appointments as well. In terms of our place initiatives, I think many of you have known that this is probably, I think, the 4th year that we did Developer Day. This year we were able to attract 200 developers and construction companies from around the state, and also this year we got lucky. We were actually able to pull some folks from Indianapolis, from Milwaukee, and from Chicago to come up and look at development opportunities here in West Michigan. And then what I explained is sort of the yin to the yang that is Developer Day, where Developer Day is all about development deals, real estate, parcels, construction, things like that. Our Place Matters Summit, which is coming up on November 6th, so mark your calendars for that. We'd love to see you guys there. The Place Matters Summit is all about the community side of growth, is helping communities understand how do you work with developers, how do you deal with growth, how do you become a more welcoming community for real estate development, how do you prepare for that day when the developer comes to the door and says, I'm looking at redeveloping First and Main Street? What does that look like for your community? What are the tools available, that you can take advantage of? So again, I encourage you guys to attend that. This will be the 4th year for that one as well. And then finally, every year we publish our annual development report. Some of the key takeaways from that, we cover office, industrial, retail, and multifamily housing. The office side, we'll call it stabilizing, but we are still facing some challenges on that one. The industrial side continues to remain exceptionally tight. We have about 3.5% vacancy here in West Michigan when it comes to industrial development. So it's an extremely tight environment for our industrial businesses when they're looking to expand or relocate or build a new facility. Retail remarkably remains pretty stable. And then we all know about multifamily housing. I mean, housing continues to be one of the biggest topics here in the region. Happy to say we've been able to win several grants coming here and bringing funds here to West Michigan. The revitalization and placemaking program to the state of Michigan, RAP 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0. We were able to receive regional grants for that. That bulleted list down below, you can see are several King County projects that were that received funding through these variety of grants. The SSRP, or Strategic Site Readiness Program, those are more industrial-based programs, so those are for industrial site readiness programs as well. So, and again, I'm trying to fly through this so I can get to your questions. If you have any specific questions about this, we can cover those at any time. In terms of our prosperity initiatives, obviously, we're coming off a Tech Week, Tech Week GR. This year almost double the amount of events that we had last year, over 120 events. We had our sold-out kickoff event with Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak. And one of the really cool parts of this, if you've ever gone out to see it, it's just amazing to see, is over 2,000 middle schoolers running all around, messing around and breaking a bunch of technology during our tech showcase that we had this year. So we also have a series of industry councils that we facilitate. We have a tech council, a manufacturers council, a med device council, and a supply chain council. And again, just to quickly sum up before we open it up for questions, I just wanted to highlight a few King County projects that have happened over this past year. We had Hex Armor out towards Oak Industrial Drive. One of the things that I'm proud about, again, with the Rapid, these are jobs that are able to be accessed on a bus line, which is good. Bentler Automotive was one of the projects that reactivated Site 36, which lay dormant for so long in the city of Wyoming. So that's become active again. OVD Insurance is right downtown here in Grand Rapids. Weiss Technique is out in the city of Kentwood. Ludus is right downtown in Grand Rapids. They are a software technology company. And then Falk Panel continues to expand. I think we've done 2 or 3 expansions with this company now. They're out in the city of Walker in the 425 area between Walker and the city of Grand Rapids. Oh, we have more. Look at this. Wolverine Worldwide, their corporate headquarters, new investment in their corporate headquarters. Teza Tape, another expansion in downtown. Ironically, this is the new building where our new offices are located. So pay close attention to that building because we are now on the 4th floor of that building. And then Woodchuck AI, which is a environmental sustainability company that's now located in the city of Grand Rapids. So again, I wanted to fly through that. You guys were provided the slides ahead of time, so I didn't want to just talk at you, but I want to open up for questions.
Fantastic, thank you. Commissioners, any questions or comments? Commissioner Stark.
You could count on me to have a question. Hey, good morning, Tim.
Good morning.
First of all, thanks for your work on the mobility task force. That's great to have you at the table there. When you are attempting to attract new businesses to come to the Kent County area, my assumption is that we are competing with multiple other areas. And these entities are looking at us and considering our strengths and weaknesses compared to somebody else or someplace else. We usually talk about our strengths, but what is our biggest weakness in that conversation?
I don't want to cop out on the answer, but it really depends on the company and the type of company. You know, if you're looking at a technology company, they have very different needs than an industrial company that needs warehousing space versus a food processor that needs access to rail. In general, overall, from the industrial side of things, as I mentioned, I think our availability of industrial real estate continues to be our biggest pinch point. Frankly, if we get an RFP from a business or a site locator representing a business, expansion from another area of the country, and they're looking for 120,000 square feet, and they give us specs on a building that needs to be 2 miles from a highway, and, it's either already built or is able to be built in 90 days, we'll put it out there, but we know sure shooting that's just gonna go in the circular file, because we just don't have that right now. We're not as a, just like housing, we're not as a region right now, we're not zoning more industrial land.
Are we encouraging developers to build on a spec basis?
We are, but it's West Michigan, so it tends to be a very conservative investment pool here. There are opportunities for, one of the things that we're pushing right now, developers to take a new look at is urban infill. We've got a lot of area within the 6 cities that have some buildings that have served their purpose, let's just put it that way, over the years, and could be higher and better use, redeveloped in a new format, which gives you, again, access to a closer talent pool, access to rapid transit and things like that, so.
Well, keep at it. You guys do great work.
Thank you.
One other question, if I can, and I haven't tracked this, but tax incentives are a part of your quiver. What happens and what did happen to tax incentives at the state level through the budget?
Great question. I think everybody got a haircut, no matter what State Department you were, you serve. The best that we can see it on what came out is, unfortunately, in terms of my world on the community development side, the revitalization and placemaking program, other placemaking programs have all been reduced to zero. So there will be no public placemaking funding this next year, at least through the state. In terms of the business development programs, don't hold me to these numbers because they bounced around 14 times in the last 5 days. It was a $100 million program. I think it's been reduced to 60 million, so about cut in half. The CRP program, the Community Revitalization Program, which funds a lot of our housing development in and around the state, has also been cut in half from 80 to 40 million. So we took a severe haircut on a lot of our state programs. And
my sense is that may be a trend, so it's not just a one-year blip. Does that change your strategy at all?
What Randy has told us, because we're actually going through 2026 planning right now, and all of the SVPs have been told 2026 is going to be a back-to-basics year. You got to get out, you got to hustle harder, you got to meet with more companies, make more connections. The example I'll give is the most recent project that I worked on out in Ada Township with Holland Home. They just announced their Averden development, which is their new retirement living facility. I've been working with them for 8 or 9 months. There were no incentives involved in that project at all. It was simply working with the architect, the developer, and the community to make sure that the open communication line stayed, that arguments were resolved, that challenges were overcome, and luckily we were able to cut a ribbon just last Tuesday or Wednesday on that project. So looking for projects like that don't necessarily require incentives, but just good, hard communication efforts.
Good. Well, it doesn't kill the goose. We can still get out there and make these projects work.
We're not gonna close up shop, I can guarantee you that.
Thank you.
Vice Chair McLeod.
Thank you, Chair. So great information. I mean, you guys are doing a lot with what will be less. How are you working with your partners in the business development area? I know that there's a lot of, companies in this space helping businesses grow, expand, do that sort of thing. And with funding, decreasing, how are you all planning to how is the Right Place planning to work with the partners to, continue to support the businesses that are looking not necessarily to start up, but to grow, right? Because that's where we're going to get some more economic development. So how are you guys changing your strategy, or what is your strategy to continue growing in that area?
Yep, in terms of the entrepreneurial ecosystem, we work with a variety of partners. There's a pretty large EOS system here in West Michigan that does a tremendous job. We don't necessarily engage on the EOS side, on the entrepreneurial side. Instead, we work with those EOS groups and make sure that those entrepreneurs are connected to the right program that fits their needs at that time. What we don't want to do is throw them over and say, you know what, there's 40 organizations out there to help you with the EOS, and good luck. So it's working with them on a regular basis. In terms of working with those established businesses that are sort of that stage 2, they may have 10, 15, 20 employees and looking to go to 50. Believe it or not, a lot of it is just opportunity connections, which leads me back to that conversation of our industry councils. Creating opportunities for collaboration between companies here in West Michigan. Another example I'll give is we have a cross industry council meeting a couple times a year, and we had our manufacturing council had a session with defense contractors, and Eaton Corporation out in Kentwood has said, you know what, we've been trying for years to find a company that that can do casting of our parts for us, but there's nobody in West Michigan that can do it. So we order, and 2 manufacturers that were in the room say, I do casting and I'm within 20 minutes of you. Without having that opportunity to network, that opportunity to come together, those would have, we probably would have got another 20 years with Eaton ordering out of Tennessee. So it's just opportunities for that, bringing companies together, having those matchmaking opportunities, and making sure they have the resources they need.
Any other questions or comments this morning?
Because you let me off easy.
Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, that will take us on to item number 5, our agenda items. Start with agenda item A from Fiscal Services, the Saddlebag Drainage District bonds.
Action requested. Recommend to the Board of Commissioners to authorize pledging the county's full faith and credit to the issuance of Saddlebag Drainage District's Drain Bond Series 2025. Summary: the Saddlebag Drain Drainage District, that's a little bit of a tongue twister this morning, a Kent County intra-county drainage district under the jurisdiction of the Kent County Drain Commissioner, is authorized under Act 40, Public Acts of Michigan, 1956, as amended, for the making of specific intra-county drain improvements, and will issue its bonds in order to finance the improvements. The proposed resolution will authorize, number 1, the pledge of the county's limited tax full faith and credit as backup security on the bonds. 2, authorized officers, including the chairperson of the Board of Commissioners, the county administrator, the county treasurer, and the fiscal services director, or any one of them, to A, execute a certificate of the county to comply with continuing disclosure, B, prepare and approve portions of the official statement that pertain to the county, and C, the execution of all other documents as necessary in order to close on the issuance of the proposed bonds. The bond proceeds will be used to pay for necessary improvements by the Saddlebag Drainage District and a special assessment district established by the Drainage District in an amount not to exceed $3.023 million. The principal of and interest of the bonds will be payable from assessments to be made upon public corporations and/or benefited parties in the Special Assessment District in Kent County. The Kent County at-large amount totals $230,758.43, which will be paid in fiscal year 2026 from amounts budgeted for that purpose and does not necessitate an increase in appropriation. The pledge of full faith and credit will allow the property owners and public corporations to pay their assessments over time and provide a better interest rate in doing so, thus providing a substantial benefit to the residents of the county. The method of the sale will be determined on the best current market offerings at the time of sale. Staff anticipates closing on the bonds in December 2025. Bond counsel has reviewed and approved all documents.
Is there a motion for this item? Moved by Vice Chair McLeod. Is there support? Supported by Commissioner Halsted. Any questions or comments? Vice Chair McLeod.
Just a quick question in regards to the timing of the, I always get confused on the process related to this. Like, what is the next step here? Is it the, when do the people that are going to be in the special assessment district find out about this? When do they know what their assessments might be? Can you tell me what the next steps might be?
We have our Drain Commissioner here to answer those questions.
Thank you for having me and for taking this up. This is just another one. We have 9 more coming out this year and first and next, so we'll be seeing a lot of each other. The next step from here is we have gone through a day of review. So everybody has their estimated assessment. And we had to open a day last week where they could come in and discuss their assessment with us. We had several people come in, not a lot. This is not a highly volatile type project. We do have an appeal from one of those people. And so we'll be going through that. We have not received a date from the court that goes through probate. And once we get that date, then we'll have that hearing. After that hearing is completed and the court makes its rule, then we'll move forward with closing up on the bonds. So notifying the people, they will then get a chance they will get notified one more time because they'll have a chance to prepay. So we'll give what, Angie, 12 days?
Usually 20.
Oh, they get 20 days to prepay if they wish. And then if they don't, then the rest of it goes on the assessment roll.
Thank you.
Commissioner Green.
Thanks, Commissioner Yonker. Can you give a general idea of the cost of the assessment for I know it's probably varies by acreage and that sort of thing, but
Yeah, it's,
range maybe?
yeah, it's about $100 a year. Correct. And that's on the average homeowner. There's a couple larger properties that are businesses, one being Frederick Meyer Garden is the largest. They have the largest assessment of all. And then we have a couple companies, Caterberg, Verhaeg Landscaping is a large one, Twin Lakes is another large one. And then from there, it gets down into the $100 range a year.
Great, thank you. Thank you,
Yeah.
Chair.
Commissioner Stack.
Thank you, Chair. So I want to go back to the process again. In these projects, you say there's 9 more coming. Thank you for that. You are the one that makes the decision whether the project's necessary?
No. These projects are petition. All right,
So members in the district are
Correct,
petitioning
correct.
the work?
The five members from the drainage district can petition me, or the municipality of that district.
So if there's a city within the district, they can
Correct.
request.
Correct, or a township, correct. And MDOT and Road Commission also can, but that typically doesn't happen. They stay away from it.
So if someone in the district, or 5 in the district, petition you to look at a project, is it then your discretion, or do you go in and say, all right,
No.
we'll do a project?
Now, once I get a petition, then I'm required by law to have a board of determination, which is a public hearing. At that point, then I find 3 people outside of that drain district that is not connected to that project at all. And they come and they sit and listen to the petitioner, and sometimes we're involved with that because we'll do an evaluation of the drain roughly from our office, because that don't cost any money for the district. And we'll get some idea of what they're looking at, and then anybody in the district that is opposed to it or supports it will then speak during that public hearing. Everyone will get a notice, a mailed notice, if they read it. 90% of the people throw it away. So you don't usually get a big turnout, but I think that's starting to change because of the amount of projects that I've had to bring forward. So there's consequences when you ignore a letter from the government.
Yes, so now you have these three individuals, do they then make the decision whether to do the project or not?
Correct. They at that night, at that meeting, have to decide whether the project is necessary. And they'll have that discussion amongst themselves, and then they'll make that decision, of which then I get an order.
So that body then determines there is a project, then it comes to you to actually facilitate it.
Correct.
If there are members in the district that have opposed it, what's their recourse once the triumvirate, or whatever you call them, make their
Yeah.
decision?
Once the decision is made, they have 10 days to appeal it in circuit court.
Okay.
And that has happened, I think probably once. I deal more on the appealing
Of the amount of the assessment.
Yeah, the assessment goes to probate more than the circuit court side of things.
So in these cases, again, the process initiates from the district. All of the participants within the district have due process opportunities to hear it, to know what's going on, to object if they want to object, and to take that objection, if denied, onto the courts.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And once you get past that point, then it's done. Then I have
Then you
full
come to the
authority
county and ask
to
for the
move-
money. I got it.
Correct. Then I come here and ask for money. Yeah. At that point, you can't stop it. It is, the courts can't stop it. It's set.
All right. Well, thank you for that explanation.
Yeah.
Vice Chair McLeod.
Thank you. As a follow-up to that, so do you or your office do any sort of training or educational opportunities for residents to help them understand this process and help them, and I know you've got a huge area to cover, but is there any sort of educational component to this so that people understand a bit more clearly that, like you said, when you get something in the mail or related to an assessment, you should pay attention to it and how it could actually impact your tax base for your home and that sorts of thing? I mean, it seems like if people understood it a bit more, maybe they would engage a bit more. It just worries me because we're seeing some of these be, a bit more opposed here and there. Obviously, we had one not too long ago, and I assume that it might not be, it might become a bit more of the norm because people aren't paying attention and don't know the impact that it has on them. So is there an educational component to this from your office?
No, there isn't. We don't have we have to work under the drain code, and we have to follow what that dictates how we do our processes. And so there's nothing in there for education. We don't have staff, or do we have an office budget that could, even if we did have the money, we couldn't. We have 5 people. And right now, we're looking at about $20 million in projects, and education isn't one of them. It's just getting the water to flow and protecting the streams and make sure people aren't flooding. So no, there is no education on that. It's when you get a letter inviting you to a public meeting, people don't like to come to those. And if it says Drain Commission, it doesn't involve me. And these are things I've heard from people. And then they're mad because they didn't go. But as the more, because we've been petitioned to do so many of these projects in the last 3 years. It has been kind of a quiet time because the engineers were doing their work. And now they're all coming out at the same time. So all of a sudden, all these projects are shovel ready and they're going. So people are starting to see the activity, and I think the Drain Commission is something that they're much more aware of than they have in the past years, because not much was done.
Commissioner Green.
Just really quickly, Kat, I know we've got a number more of these coming. You said in the future, can we get like the GIS map of the drainage district in the packet as part of that.
Sure,
It's just helpful for the context.
sure.
Thank you.
Commissioner Steck.
Thank you, Chair. So, Ken, again, when you move forward with this, everyone in the district does get a written notice
Oh, yeah.
of the intent to move forward with
Oh, yeah.
with a project. Does that notice identify for them something of their rights or what the process is about?
Yeah, they are informed that if, at the day of review, that they can come and talk about any questions or disagreements, or if they just want information. And after that day, they have 10 days to appeal that into probate court.
But again, is that explained in the
That's all
notification?
explained, yeah.
So if they did open their mail, if they did
Yeah.
read their mail, they would have the information?
Correct. Their rights are printed on there to what their process would be.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments on this item? Okay. All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Motion passes. That takes us on to item B from the Bureau of Equalization, the 2025 apportionment report.
Action requested. Recommend to the Board of Commissioners to approve the 2025 apportionment report. Summary. The general property tax law outlines the responsibility of the Board of Commissioners with respect to the annual apportionment report. The Board of Commissioners examines certificates of each local taxing jurisdiction and directs millage rates to be spread on taxable valuations. The Board of Commissioners also determines the dollar requirements necessary to fund the assessment for drains to be spread on the respective township and city rolls. Attached is the 2025 apportionment report as prepared by the Bureau of Equalization. We do have our director, Megan Van Hoos, in the audience. And Megan, if you would just like to make a few comments about the report and the process, that'd be appreciated.
Good morning,
Well,
thank you for
sure.
joining us.
Good morning, thanks for having me. Yeah, the apportionment report really is just a compilation of all the millage rates that are being spread on all the taxing authorities, school districts, townships, cities, library, right? Everybody who's collecting money. And then the report also has all the taxable values and how that money is going to be spread about. This is the second of our statutory duties for the year for equalization. The first one being the equalization process that happens in May. And that's where we tell you what the assessed and taxable values are going to be, the state equalized values for all the local units. And then at this point in the year, we tell you how the millages are going to be spread. Yeah. So equalization's process, we prepare the L4029. That's the form that the local units or the taxing authorities will outline every millage and where it's going to. So we prepare those for the local units. We send them out. They have them approved at their boards. They send them back to us, and we create this great report for you.
Great, thank you. Do we have a motion for this item? Moved by Commissioner Steck. Is there support? Support. Supported by Vice Chair McLeod. Any questions or comments? Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, seeing no questions or comments, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Motion passes. That takes us to item C. Comes to us from purchasing, the Kent County Fire Commission contract revision.
Action requested. Recommend to the Board of Commissioners to approve the amended Kent County Fire Commission contract between Kent County and the Kent County Fire Commission member agencies and to authorize the board chair or designee to sign the amended contract. Summary. The contract updates provide clarity regarding Fire Commission membership and operations. The main edits include the financial dates are previously based upon the calendar year and are updated to the new county fiscal year. Definitions are added for pre-authorized preventive maintenance and repair. Clarity is added on apparatus acquisition outside Fire Commission Board and Kent County Purchasing Assistance, including requiring the county to be a secured interest in the vehicle in order to obtain county maintenance assistance. Conflict of interest statement is added. Members are required to be financially prepared for fire apparatus acquisition costs. Members are required to comply with the group insurance coverage contract. The Kent County Fire Commission Board approved the contract revisions at its May 2025 meeting and has requested that the Kent County Board of Commissioners approve the contract revisions. Kent County Fire Commission member agencies approve the contract revisions.
Is there a motion for this item? Moved by Commissioner Halsted. Is there support?
Support.
Supported by Commissioner Green. Questions or comments? Commissioner Steck.
Thank you, Chair. I didn't dig into it that deeply, but it strikes me these are not substantive changes to the structure.
Correct. This is a needed update, right? And we do have Joni from purchasing who kind of led the process to do this, and she's available for other questions as well.
I didn't see anything that looked substantive to me. I just wanted to make sure that that's the case.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion passes. That takes us to our final action item, the financial status report, quarterly report from Jeff. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me this morning. So this is a report of our third quarter fiscal year, June 30. It's a little late this time. We had some scheduling conflicts with finance meetings, so this was the first time I had to present it, so I apologize for that. But through the third quarter, revenues have increased 8.9% to $101.76 million, and expenses have increased 1.6% to $163.76 million since over last year. Nothing out of the ordinary really to report. It's kind of the overall summary of this. We anticipate fully having revenues exceeding expenditures at the end of September. If we look at page 2, so it's our variance report. Up top, we have our taxes. The timing, we collected more this year than last year. It's up 30.9%, but that will level off through the end of our fiscal year. But it's not unusual to see that kind of thing. Intergovernmental revenues are up 30.4%, and that's due timing and increased state revenue sharing in the last year's budget. Interest earnings have decreased, and that's a mark-to-market adjustment. It's a year-end adjustment that's required by GAAP accounting, so it shows a significant decrease, 37.2%. We never know what that's really going to do at year-end. It depends on a lot of factors, and the treasurer has to calculate that calculation each year. So, other revenue has increased 11.2%, and that's really just due to timing issues and should level off by the fiscal year end. Going down to expenditures, you can see personnel is up 7.8%, 93.419 million. Really nothing out of the ordinary there. It's consistent with new personnel added and also the wage increases that were negotiated with all of our units. Supplies categories is down 7.2%, and that's really due to smaller uniform budget this year. In the sheriff's budget, they had new uniforms last year, so that was reduced this year. Capital category increased from 2.29 to 4.37, 90.4%, and that's due to planned timing of vehicle and equipment purchases in the sheriff budget. And then transfers out have decreased 21.8%, and that's due to the fact that we postponed the CIP transfer until the next quarter, the last quarter of the fiscal year. Okay, moving on to page 4. The revenue category is the same as the previous page. You can see in the bottom piece, it's by department this time as opposed to by category. There's a few variances in here, nothing too out of the ordinary. You can see IT is up 24.8%, but that was due to some early renewal of contracts, and we don't anticipate them exceeding their budget by fiscal year end. Clerk register of deeds was up. That was primarily due to the federal election last fall, and again was planned for in the budget. District court was due to the new judge. That increase. This was the first year of that starting, and there's also some support positions with that. And then HR had some early contracts, so that was up higher than normal. But again, none of these things are out of the ordinary. We're all projected in their budgets. The other one is drain commission at the end. As we just had that discussion, they brought in a lot of additional at-large projects this year, requiring additional appropriations throughout this past year. The other category is up a little bit, not by dollar, but by percent. Cooperative extension is in there, the right place, and the zoo liability insurance is in there. cooperative extension makes up the most of that change, and that was due to switching from an employee to a contractor, and they paid that contract up front. But again, should be within budget by the end of the year. Moving on to page 5, you can see our fund balance, $113.8 million. Again, this doesn't change throughout the year. This was recorded as of last 9/30, our fiscal year end. So nothing to really report there. You've seen that before. Moving on to page 6, 6 and 7, really, the graph goes along with it. Our cash balance was $18.8 million, 20 days on hand, slightly above last year. If you look to page 7 at the graph, you can still see it dipping really lower than we'd like to see it. We don't like to go into that gray area, so we're still looking to adjust with our fiscal year end change if we need to continue to, or what our future fund balance will need to be. So again, we're going to wait another year on that before we bring together a recommendation. So have plenty of cash on hand, no fears of not being able to pay the bills. We keep a close eye on that. And then page 8 and 9 talk about the lodging and excise tax. There was a lot of changes, as you know, this past year. You can see in the revenue side, transient tax, 5%, we break them out, it's $8.3 million, up 5% over last year. And then the 3%, you can see it was up to $3.1 million. And that was started January of this year, so there's no comparison to last year. On the expense side, you can see we pay Experience Grand Rapids up slightly based from the new contract amount. $5.2 million, $5 million for the amphitheater, and then $200,000 for art prize contributions there. And then the debt service to DeVos Place, obviously $8.5 million. That's our annual payment. That's due on December 1st. And then $1 million payback to the CAA for the advance of the bond reserve that was given to Grand Rapids to issue those bonds for the soccer stadium and the amphitheater debt. Current outstanding general fund advance is $8 million. We put a pause on that this fiscal year with all the new changes and the new debt going to Grand Rapids. So right now, we're not anticipating paying any of that back until maybe a couple of years from now, until we get everything settled out. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions or comments from commissioners this morning? Commissioner Stack.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning.
The first analysis or first report on the revenue balance is quarter to quarter.
Yes.
There's some big differences in here, and most of them are timing issues, as you say. Is that going to stabilize as we get further into our new fiscal year process?
You know, a lot of it depends on when the state reimbursements for grants are. A lot of that's a timing issue. It should stable out somewhat, yeah, as we get more accustomed to our 9/30 year end and quarter to quarter. But again, there's always we never know when people are going to pay their taxes. Yeah. A lot of that is varying on. Some people won't pay their taxes. They'll actually make them go late because they can earn more on the investments on side on their interest. So there's a lot of factors into that on what makes those differences happen. So.
To me, it begs the question, what's the value of a quarter-to-quarter comparison? Because here we see all these major deviations, and it's like, yes. Whoa. Yeah. But they're really not significant deviations.
Not year to year. No.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments this morning? Vice Chair McClaw.
Thank you. Hi, Jeff.